Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video game video. This time it's part 2 of some rare or pricey games in the PlayStation library. just going to show you the ones I have. There are plenty of them. I mean, the PlayStation library is vast, and I don't have every rare or pricey or desirable game. But I'll talk about some of the ones I have. So here we'll move on to part 2. Okay, got another stack, but not everyone in my collection. I'm gonna save. I'll probably make 2 more parts of this. So here we have Castlevania Chronicles and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Are these 2 games rare? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I do think that this one is a little less common than this one. But here's the thing about them. I think this will go for about maybe 40 or 50 bucks, and this will probably go for maybe about 50 or 60 bucks. So, okay, if they're not rare, why do they go for a game that's over 20 some odd years old? Why does it go for that much, almost 25 years old? Well, they're desirable. And not every game that's pricey on whatever system, whether it's PlayStation, Genesis, Saturn, Nintendo, just because it goes for a certain amount of money, a lot amount of money, doesn't necessarily mean it's rare. Although a lot of cases it is rare, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's rare. It just means it's desirable. And I guess not enough people are selling them to meet the demand. And that's why the value goes up. Or they're just collectible. Okay? Now, for this one right here, this is the black label. Now, I'm not going to talk about the greatest hits, because a lot of PlayStation games have a greatest hits release, where the black label is then replaced with a green label that says greatest hits. Castlevania Symphony of the Night does have a version of that. The black label is still more desirable than the greatest hits label. I'm pretty sure there are some cases where the greatest hits labels are rarer than the black label, but off the top of my head, I really can't think of which ones. I really don't collect greatest hits. I have a couple. I'm looking to buy the black labels so in the near future. Okay, now moving on. Now this game is kind of rare. Is it super rare? No, but is it kind of rare? Yes. Is it desirable? I don't know. This is called Foxon. This is another one of those FMV, back in the early to mid 90s, those FMV games were really the thing, but they sucked. And honestly, this one's really no exception. It's really not that good. I don't think it's really that good. I think on average it'll cost you about $120. I mean, if you're looking to complete your collection, you're looking to collect PlayStation games, rare PlayStation games, I'd say have at it. But if you're looking for a good game to play, would I go out and spend $120 on Foxon? No way. It's not that good. By Capcom too. Capcom usually puts out some pretty good games. Here's one. I don't want to say necessarily rare, but I would say that it's more of a hidden gem. Not many people played it, I don't think. Herc's Adventures. Now, it's rarer and more expensive on the Sega Saturn. But this copy right here will probably cost you about maybe 70 bucks, 60 bucks. It's a good game. It really is. It's also a game, like for those of you that are, hey, I want to play these games, but I don't really feel like spending $100 or $70 on this game. What do I do? Well, Herc's Adventures, like several other games, you could purchase off the PlayStation Store. If you have a PlayStation 3, you go to the PlayStation Store and buy PlayStation 1 Classics for download. And this is one of them, and I think it's $4 or $5.99. So if you don't have to have the actual original release in your collection, you could play this game by other means. And I'm sure there are other means beyond getting them on the PlayStation Store that you know about that I don't know about. Here's another game, Hoshigami. I keep forgetting what the subtitle is. Ruining Blue Earth. This is a strategy, turn-based strategy game by Atlas. Like I said in the previous video, you'll see Atlas and working designs come up often and whenever you're talking about desirable, rare, pricey games. I think on average it's maybe about 30 or maybe 40 to 50 bucks. Is it worth it? No. It's not a very good turn-based strategy game. And nothing strange about it. It's just one disc. I'll let you know if there are things to be look out for when it comes to like getting maps and stickers and all that. Just a regular release, no big deal. Here's another one that's kind of Uh, kind of pricey. I think it's largely because not too many people even knew about it when it came out. Intelligent Cube. It's a puzzle game. I'm not going to get into what type of puzzle game it is, but it is addictive and it's a lot of fun. And it usually will run you, I think, about $60 for a complete copy. So now here's a rare game. It's rare because a lot of people did not purchase it. You know, I think when Namco released it, they were hoping that it would be a seller. They were hoping that it might even be a new mascot for the video game giant. But it just never was. Kokonoa, Door to Phantom Mile. This is a really good game. If you're, you know, I very rarely say you need to go out and buy a $150 game. And this game will cost you anywhere between $150 and $175. And when I give you these prices, I mean, you know, opened. Like it's about $150 to $175 opened. If it were sealed, it'll probably cost you more like $400 or $500. That's a completely different story. I don't collect sealed games. You know, I know a lot of people do. They want to grade them. They want to send them off to WADA. That's up to them, but I'm not that type of person. So Kokonoa. Yeah, it didn't really get that much attention when it came out, and it was a really solid 2D platformer, and that's why it's expensive now. A lot of people years later realize that it was a good game and like, wow, and everyone wants it. The demand for it goes up and the supply doesn't meet the demand, as with many things that go up in value, right? Here's another game, Kodelka. Is it rare? No, but it's desirable. Is it really common? I don't think it's really common. It's again, I think when this game came out, you know, Game Informer was the big premier magazine of the late 90s to early 2000s. Sure, there was Game Pro and a bunch of others, Game Fan and all that. And they all had their fan base. But I think Game Informer was the big video game magazine for that period of time. And Game Informer, I think, gave this a mediocre score. And a lot of people see that the game got a mediocre score and didn't buy it. And years later, when we look at things again, like sometimes when we look at movies again, you realize like Blade Runner. When Blade Runner first came out, it wasn't celebrated. It wasn't liked. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory came out in the early 70s. And when that first came out, didn't get many good reviews. It wasn't until years later when people started looking at this again, like Kodelka. I don't mean to put this in the same category as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it adds to the point I'm trying to make. Them. Well, why did they become popular? Why did they become expensive? It's because afterwards, after moving for years after the abysmal reviews that some of these things got, people realized, well, it's not really that bad. And the desire and the interest in it starts to form and creates a price increase. And that is the case with Kodelka. This is a horror RPG game. I'm going to go over just a few more because I'm already at 8 minutes, and I don't want these videos to be too long. Again, working designs. I showed you a couple working designs in the previous video with Alundra and Elemental Gearbolt and Arc the Lad collection and so forth. Well, here we have Lunar. Originally, Lunar came out for the Sega CD. It was re-released for the Sega Saturn, never came out in the United States, so you could get those Japanese-only Lunar games for like maybe $30, but they re-released it on the PlayStation in the United States, and they came in these really cool little sets. Again, like what Arc the Lad, it looks in a similar Arc the Lad collection set. Open it up, it tells you all the extras in it. It's got a cloth map, hardcover, instruction manual, all full color, music CD, the works. Again, it's expensive because it's a nice little package. It's desirable. And I think when it came out, I don't know if it sold that well. I think it did okay with reviews, but I don't know if it sold that well, largely because, you know, back when this came out in 1999, PlayStation games were $39.99 a piece, okay? It was Nintendo games, Nintendo 64 games that were $59.99. So PlayStation was $39.99, and when they release a game like this, I believe this was $69.99. So people are like, oh, I don't want to spend that much money on a remake. And, you know, the remake's okay, but Lunar, and no offense to Lunar fans, and I like this game a lot, you know, when there were games like Final Fantasy VII out, this really didn't compete with Final Fantasy VII. I mean, it really looked like it was beneath Final Fantasy VII, and Final Fantasy VIII was on the verge of coming out a few months after this release. So not many people who were trying to hold on, were picky about what they bought, were trying to be careful what they spent their money on, was going to go out and spend close to $70 on a game that was just okay. And it's the same to be said for Lunar 2 here. Same deal. Comes with a bunch of stuff. Map, special. That came with a cloth map. This comes with a map like a Lundra, like a paper map. But a bunch of other things. What else does this game come with? Came with a, music, making of CD, 100-page hardbound art book, full-size pendant. Exclusive character mini standees. It came with a bunch of other little things, okay? But it was much like the first Lunar. It's pretty cool. But again, another remake, another expensive $69.99 remake that a lot of people were like, I don't know. And this came out in 2000. So at that time, Squaresoft released 2 more Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy VIII came out in September of 1999, and then they released Final Fantasy IX a year later. Okay? And 8, you could say what you want about Final Fantasy VIII. It was like, it was okay. Final Fantasy IX was really good. And both of those games came out before this. So not many people were that interested in playing a remake of a game that came out in 1995 at that point. So it may have not sold that well. And that's why it usually sells for a decent amount. I forgot to mention, Kadelka goes for, I think, about maybe $70. Lunar here, this will probably go $80 to $100. And I think this goes for about $80 to $100 too. It has to be complete. It's got to have all the stuff in it and all that. 2 more. Mega Man Legends 2. The first Mega Man Legends game is not as rare. This one is sort of rare, okay? Again, I don't think the Mega Man Legends series was that popular, and that's why they go for a little bit more. I think this game could be purchased anywhere between maybe $50 to $70. It used to be more. I think it used to be a $100 game. It's not that much now, but it's still more than your average old PlayStation game. So it's an okay game. It's not bad. It's not one of the best Mega Man games. That's a really high bar to go over when it comes to best Mega Man game. This certainly isn't it. But it's definitely rarer than the first one, Mega Man Legends. And I close this video with probably one of the Holy Grails. I mean, it's not Elemental Gearbolt Gun Case Holy Grail, like I mentioned in the last video. That thing is really cool. I wish I had that. But it's still a more infamous, rare game on the PlayStation 1, and that is the Misadventures of Trombone. You could watch any one of those YouTube channel video game personalities that are always talking about hidden gems, and you'll see this game there. Some of them even say that this game is a great game. Well, to each his own. We all have different tastes, right? Is it a good game? It's okay. It's all right. I don't think it's a game that, you'll play and you'll be like, oh my god, I just don't understand why this game didn't get good reviews. And it didn't. Remember what I mentioned earlier about Game Informer? This did not get good reviews at all. I mean, Kadelka got better reviews. I think this got, Game Informer rates games from like grading comic books on a scale of 10. And I think this got like a 4.75. So, even though we don't have in comics a grade 4.75, but you get what I mean. It's low. Okay? So no, it wasn't really well liked. It's a pretty fun game, and again, if you don't want to spend the money on this game usually goes for about $250. If you find one under that, that's a deal. But also remember, what I was saying in the other games, you gotta make sure now it's a single jewel case release, right? But it has 2 discs in it. It also has the Mega Man Legends 2 demo disc. This came out before Mega Man Legends, so if you bought this, they wanted to prep you for this game. So not many people bought this, and not many people bought this. But it's an interesting game. It's interesting. Would I spend $250 on it? No. I sometimes think, and this is just my opinion, some of the YouTube personalities that say they love this game, they just seem to happen to love all games that are over $200. I think they're more in love with the value than the actual game, which is fine. If you want to sell them, you like having valuable things, that's fine too. But he's talking about, oh, it's such a great game. I don't know about that one. But to each his own, right? Thank you for watching. I know we went 15 minutes, longer than I wanted. But I'll see if I can I'm probably going to make 2 more of these videos. And I'll talk to you about the ins and outs of some of the rare games, what to be on the lookout for, and stuff like that. Whether you want to flip them, whether you want them for your own collection. Thank you for watching.